it starts to clear a little bit, and then
you are essentially voluntarily, without me even asking you, to basically clone me. I thank you, John. I feel like I will live forever now. You were pepperoni. Oh man, John, you're back. You're back and better than ever before, John. I'd like to commission you as a unofficial lieutenant in the United States Army. Congratulations, John. You are now an officer in the U.S. military. You've done it, John. Go forth and bring your people justice.
And I'm in New York. I see it every day. I've seen it in Dallas. I've seen it in LA. I've seen it in Las Vegas. Every major city. I don't see it as much in the rural areas, but it still happens.
Let me play you a little clip, John.
This is not a conspiracy.
This is from King Arthur.
6 months ago, exactly what you showed.
Yeah, you sent it to me. You sent it to me, and I shared it, and that's exactly what that is. And
4 planes and 1 plane off. 1 plane just didn't have it. It was either out or he forgot to pull the handle to let the shit out. It's so obvious.
And tell your friends and family, say, listen, don't believe me. I understand it sounds crazy. Pay attention to the sky.
Okay, this is for you, Joe. This is your knighting ceremony. Oh, I don't know why that audio's not working. Alright, this has been the campaign to elect John Kitover, Meditation per Victory on X. I'm going to end this so I can knight my friend John here. In case I go down, John, continue the fight. What the fuck?
Swear faith to me, and you shall have mercy. I need battle lords such as you, and I will not swear faith to a squire. Never! You're right. I'm not yet a knight. You, Irians, will knight me. And as night tonight, I can't offer you mercy. What's this? What's this? Keep it, Urians! In the name of God, St. Michael and St. George, I give you the right to bear arms and the power to meet justice. That duty I will solemnly obey, as knight and king. I never saw this. Rise, King Arthur. I am your humble knight, and I swear allegiance to the courage in your veins. So strong it is, its source must be Uther Pendragon. I doubt you no more. This moment, savor it, rejoice with great gladness, remember it always, for you are joined by it, you are one, under the stars. Remember it well then, this night, this great victory, so that in the years ahead, you can say, I was there that night with Arthur, the king. For it is the doom of men that they forget. Merlin, your wisdom has forged this ring. Hereafter, our bonds. We shall always come together in a circle to hear and tell of deeds good and brave. I will build a round table where this fellowship shall meet, and a hall about the table, and a council about the hall, and I will marry, and the land will have an heir to wield Excalibur. Knights of the Round Table.
Okay, you're almost done with your training. Next, we're gonna do Merlin quotes from Excalibur. Then that'll be it. And then you'll fully become John Kitover. John, I salute you. I hope you like these Merlin quotes.
The Matrix is a system, Neo. That system is our enemy. But when you're inside, you look around, what do you see? Businessmen, teachers, lawyers.
Augustus is making a speech over there.
The very minds of the people we are trying to save.
And most men are looking at the woman with the red house.
But until we do, these people are still a part of that system. And that makes them our enemy. You have to understand, most of these people.
But first, the message from Walmart, where you can find shopping and savings.
Wow, I'm super excited to join the Whatnot family. Whatnot is a live streaming platform where you guys can buy, sell, auction.
2025. That's right. So,
Oh, everything okay on your end over there? What was all those alarms, bro? You start talking chemtrails next to me.
it's just they're doing a test. And we got some hands raised. So, go ahead, Joe.
I dreamt of the dragon. I have awoken him. Can't you see all around you the dragon's breath? We have drawn him out. The Duke is off to pursue your men. There he goes. Good. Mount your horse! I will transform you into the semblance of the Duke. Igraine will think her husband has returned. But the cliff, the sea, your lust will hold you up. You will float on the dragon's breath. Ride! Take on the outer shape of the Duke. Change! Transform! Now! That's it! That's it!
John, I hope this programming is
The
beneficial
Art of
for you.
Being, Free and Easy Wandering. Teachings from the Jiangzi. The Inner...
What's up for? Oh man, dinner.
But first, an ad by Hamburger Helper.
Look, I love.
Yes, Merlin, that's it. Set the world to rights. Call the dragon. Mend the soul. Speak the charm of making.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yo, what's up, brother?
Hey, everybody, this is John Kitover. I recognize former speaker's voice. Anyways, I just wanted to read some parts from this Make Our Children Healthy Again strategy PDF, because I know a lot of people probably can't read it, won't read it, don't have the time. But, you know, I'll just read like 3 bullet points if that's okay with all the other speakers.
Yeah, go for it.
So this came out on February 13th, 2025. These are some of the bullet points that I thought were interesting. Lack of physical activity and chronic stress. American children are experiencing unprecedented levels of inactivity, screen use, sleep deprivation, and chronic stress. These factors significantly contribute to the rise in chronic diseases and mental challenges. Over-medicalization. There's a concerning trend of over-prescribing medications to children, often driven by conflicts of interest in medical research, regulation, and practice, aka big business. This has led to unnecessary treatments and long-term health risks. This is the next bullet point is vaccine injury. HHS, in collaboration with NIAID, will investigate vaccine injuries with improved data collection and analysis, including through a new vaccine injury research program at the NIH Clinical Center that may expand to centers around the country. Autism. HHS through NIH in collaboration with CMS will study the root causes of autism, including through the Real World Data, RWD platform, and related initiatives. There's water quality, air quality, microplastics and synthetics, prescribing patterns and impact on mental health, food for health, nutrition, repurposed drugs, childhood cancer, and AI. NIH and OSTP will develop an evidence-based and AI-driven approach to harnessing the data and technology available to transform research and clinical trials on pediatric cancer. This can be a model for future research in other critical areas. Next is precision technology, oral health, and systemic disease connection, longitudinal pediatric health insights. VA, that's Veteran Affairs, will provide the NIH critical data and metrics on ADHD, diabetes, and pharmaceutical usage among CHAMP VA beneficiaries under 18 to address long-standing gaps in pediatric research, particularly longitudinal analyses. With over 200,000 CHAMP VA beneficiaries in this age group, VA is uniquely positioned to track children's health journeys across the U.S. and will enter into a data sharing agreement with NIH, excluding personally identifiable information to inform national strategies, early intervention, appropriate care utilization, mental health policy. So the government's going to use the VA and 200,000 children to do experimentation, apparently, or testing. Next is clinical trial network, electromagnetic radiation, mental health addiction research, rural tribal health, artificial intelligence. Big emphasis on AI. So that's only page 6, up to 6 of 18 pages. There were some specific things I wanted to call out, but if people have a chance to look at this, so this is the vaccine framework. DPC and HHS will develop a framework focused on ensuring America has the best childhood vaccine schedule, addressing vaccine injuries, modernizing American vaccines with transparent gold standard science, gold standard, correcting conflicts of interest and misaligned incentives, ensuring scientific and medical freedom. Early childhood physical activity. There's so much in here. So this is agricultural deregulation. Streamline organic certification processes, reduce costs for small farms transitioning to organic practices. Eliminate unnecessary bureaucratic barriers for community-supported agriculture programs. Reduce regulatory compliance burdens for small farms. Streamline digitize USDA application processes. Generate reliable access to credit. Improve land acquisition permitting process. So it's, unfortunately, as someone who has had many accounts deleted for speaking out against the COVID-19 vaccines, I don't get the feeling that this is like any kind of prohibition or regulation on mRNA manufacturing, distribution, marketing. I don't know if people saw yesterday, but the Pediatrics Association group with 30,000 members came out and said that they are not going to comply with Secretary Kennedy's updated policy on juvenile or pediatric COVID-19 vaccination, and they said they recommending parents vaccinate their children with COVID-19 vaccines. So the mainstream media, through Sinclair Broadcasting or Time Warner and CNN, is still putting out mass messaging to the American population to vaccinate your juvenile children or anybody with COVID-19 vaccines. So we are still living in a medical tyrannical industrial complex with a monopoly on the media that is still encouraging all Americans to get the COVID-19 vaccine. And unfortunately, that is not in alignment with the new government and Secretary Kennedy. So also, I don't know if you saw, but Jenny McCarthy also came out and said that she was targeted and attacked by Big Pharma for speaking out against the child COVID-19 or the child vaccination schedule, which is, I think it's 79 injections or 59 injections. So we're living
72.
in 72. So we're living in medical tyranny, and Augustus is doing a great job organizing, helping people spread messaging and fight back. But it is a small group. Share the room, add everybody as a friend. The network grows stronger, the more connected we become. So thanks for letting me read all that, and I hope everybody has a great day.
No, that was a really great read and great take. Jenny McCarthy, she actually has been commenting on my Instagram channel, supporting the work that I'm doing on that platform. Jenny McCarthy, great person. Shout her out. So, with that being said, let's go to Prashant.
Hey, good morning, everybody. Or good afternoon, wherever you're at. It's morning for me here in Hawaii. But, for the first time, I think maybe some real change is happening. Reports are easy. Words are easy. I'll believe it more when we start seeing the real change in effect. One of the reasons I have hope, please let me finish before anybody jumps in by getting set off, because I'm not trying to set anybody off. But this is one of the reasons I have hope. I just found an article this morning. It says Trump's afterlife fear sparks fresh health concerns as president admits, I'm not doing well. Well, I've said it a number of times in the past months that Trump looks really, really sick, sicker than he's ever been in all the 12 years we've had him in the public sphere. He looks really bad. And I've studied the science of the mind, a 3,000-year-old philosophy and science. And one of the only things that really makes people change is fear. And one of the worst fears that humans have is fear of death. So why am I saying this? Because I think Donald Trump right now is facing fear of death. That's what that article says that I just pointed out to you. I can share it if anybody wants to see it. But that's why I have hope. Because personally, I think this is one of the most dark men that's ever been in our White House. But when you face fear of death, that can be, it's not always, but it can be a catalyst for real change. And that's why I think there is a possibility that this man may really change, because he's got fear of his death right now. I could share a lot more, but I'll stop for now. Thank you.
So I just went around and clicked everybody's profile and added everybody. If everybody else could do the same, because again, this communication, this room, this organizing effort, the more connected we are, the stronger, the messaging and the distribution will be, and the stronger we will all be as a group.
Give you a follow, bro. Gotcha.
Let's go to Johnny.
Hey everybody, what's going on? Yeah, I guess my hope for this whole pesticide thing is, this is a draft, and the pesticide part, maybe they're working on it, and they're like, just want a clean draft, and this is the part that they're kind of still working out. Secondly, Kennedy's all about the gold standard science coming to what's causing all these chronic disease, and I believe that main culprit after the mRNA tech is glyphosate. I think these studies are going to show that. And if those studies aren't done yet, maybe it's a strategic decision to focus on the other things now. And then when those studies start coming, we can focus on the pesticides a little more. So that's my hope I got there. I put up in the top nest, we got a big account. We got, what's his name?
Oh, here on Clubhouse? Well, this is on X, by the way.
The Vigilant Fox is posting about these liability shields.
Go to X and look up USA_Augustus.
Help get the word out about that. He just posted that an hour ago, so we can help him get the word out there.
That's his X profile.
Yeah,
it's in the chat.
Same way they went after a liability shield for the childhood.
Join the room on there. You can jump out of this Clubhouse room if you want. Join the X space. Or if you want, if you got another burner, just live stream this X space into Clubhouse and create a room called Secretary Kennedy and Vaccine Regulation, something like that.
They went, 5-6X with the vaccine schedule, depending on.
Actually, John, I'm gonna recreate this room.
And
change the title.
Yeah, we can't trust serial criminals to do the right thing. And it's there's a lot of overlap between big pharma, big ag. Of course, let the food be the medicine. You go back to that, but this mRNA tech, it's just turning us into guinea pigs, right? It's completely against nature, whether you believe in a creator or just even evolution. So, and it's the same thing with GMOs. Experimenting with our plants, with the microbes, with the soil. This stuff's dangerous. They could be creating all sorts of blights and famines, and that's in their financial interest, right? So is it on purpose when they collapse our food supply and then make all the more money? We saw they made so much money from COVID. So yeah, this stuff's really no good. I like what our friend Nooney was saying earlier. Yeah, we're all on the same side. They are masters of the arts of dividing movements like ours. We're all on the same side. We got to make our food and men safe again. These are the two main culprits. I'm right there with everybody yelling about mRNA tech. This is more urgent. But we got to keep pounding the table about both these issues. It's unacceptable. It's a fertility crisis that we're in, guys. We're the sickest country on the planet. We got to do something about that. Our kids are being gaslit. Their hormones aren't firing correctly because we're drowning in toxins. We're drowning in endocrine disruptors. And our kids are getting gaslit like you can choose your gender. I mean, something that is so preposterous, so ridiculous, it's child abuse. And they normalize it. And that's the power of the media we're up against. So guys, don't neglect. I think they really profit from this phenomenon of learned helplessness. They want us to try to give up and throw in the towel. And I get this attitude from way too many people. And I'm glad it's your generation has to deal with this. It's like, dude, my generation is impoverished. We're spending 2 to 3 times on our health care. Prices are outrageous. It's all hands on deck. If you're retired, if whatever stage of life is, if you got a little extra time, when we call a congressman, that is that balances out the lobbying efforts of these tyrants, right? Let our public servants know like what the real issue is. You know, they're liars on the other side, okay, and they sound convincing. So they're in our representatives' ear with all this nonsense. One of the narratives of Big Ag right now is that they're not going after a liability shield, which is just bizarre that anybody could even believe that, because they're using the same defense right now in the Supreme Court to try to get 67,000 cases of American families with non-Hodgkin's lymphoma with cancer who have gotten that from Monsanto's Roundup. They're trying to get that thrown out of court using the same legal technicality that they're pushing for in this legislation. So yeah, we got to revoke all these liability shields. Thomas Massey has brought forth a great bill about pulling back the PrEP Act. Representative Gosar has a bill in the House right now about restoring accountability for the childhood immunization schedule. And of course, we got to say no to this new Section 453 that's about the Big Ag. So, yeah, great time to call a congressman and tell him, listen, our constitutional rights are non-negotiable, and they need to stand for us. So, yeah, thanks for hosting Augustus. Repost that link. It's all the way to the left and the top in the nest if you like. Vigilant Fox did a great write-up on it. So.
Okay, thanks for sharing, Johnny. Go ahead, Hope.
Thank you. So, I listen. I'm a space hopper. I listen to a lot of people, and a lot of the time I really retain it. So when Augustus said that there would probably be something coming out around August or September, I've just been holding off, expecting that RFK Jr. is going to be doing something about the vaccinations. I have faith. When it comes to the media, they're propagandists. They're never going to tell you anything positive. Why? Because fear sells. And I can tell you that I have been falsely imprisoned. I have been tortured. I'm still dealing with the lawfare 6 years later. I have lived in fear for so long. And I woke up this morning and I said, you know what? It's given me the power, the love, and sound mind. He has not given me a spirit of fear. So I will not be reading the New York Times. I will not be reading any of those things that are going to try to put fear into my heart, because I believe in God and I believe that there is a plan here. And if you don't think that this is not a war of good and evil, I can tell you that in 2022, when I lived in Texas, the guy that I was dating, his grandmother came to visit for Mother's Day. She's bilingual, and when she came, she said that she was on a bus that was filled with middle males that were coughing and not covering their mouths. After she went back, she went to the hospital and was admitted for the pneumonia. They released her. 2 days later, she went back and she passed away. So while these people were telling us that we were going to kill everyone if we didn't get the jab, we're gonna be, demonized for not wearing paper diapers on our faces. These people were doing this to us while they were importing illegals on buses that we know nothing about. We don't know what kind of criminal history they have. We don't know their vaccine history. And then they put them in our children's schools. So don't think for a second that this is not a battle of good and evil, because it definitely is. But I believe that God is going to win. And the last thing that I want to say is that, even though there has been maybe a little more of a delay than we expected or hoped for with the vaccines, RFK did step up to something very important, and that is kratom. This feel-free is being sold at gas stations, and it is being marketed as something that is completely healthy and natural, when in reality, it is more addictive than opiates, and it is deadly. Actually, my friend, who is 41, he was 41 years old, and he took kratom because he had broken his collarbone. And when the surgeon tried to reattach it, he did not do a good job on the surgery. So my friend was taking the kratom, and I was like, man, that stuff's so bad for you, you know? And he said that he hadn't taken it for a few days, and then I didn't hear from him for 2 or 3 days, and I got the call. He had a seizure. My friend was 41 years old, and kratom took his life last year. So
I've been using kratom for the last 10 years. I do understand what you're saying, and especially the ones in the gas stations, but it's not as black and white as you think. I'm gonna let you finish, but I've been drinking kratom tea for over a decade. I just want to add my thoughts to that, but I agree with you. All this stuff in the gas stations, all these, nobody knows what's in them. So it's not just the kratom itself, but
yeah, I mean, it's just like anything that needs to be regulated, or, you know, like there needs to be more studies into it. There may be people that know how to take it correctly, but I don't think that it needs to be out there at a gas station for anyone who's 18 and above to be buying.
I agree with that. It shouldn't be in gas stations at all. There shouldn't be a synthetic version of it. And for what I'm hearing in the back channels, they're actually getting ready to approve a version of it that's going to be more addictive than heroin. So it is something that should be regulated because it's operating under the black market, meaning for the longest, this kratom is, if I'm not mistaken, it's a part of the pepper family. If I'm not mistaken, it's part of the pepper family. If you take the leaves and you make like an organic tea with it, it's great. But what they're doing is they're turning it into a powder, which is like making it much, much stronger. Okay? Like it's being abused. And what's happening is a lot of former drug addicts are using it, and it's actually been beneficial to them. So they use it as a crutch to get off of heroin and other drugs, and also to not go on painkillers, because it does have like a pain-killing type effect. It numbs the body. It can be addictive, especially for people that were addicts, but especially the things that they're selling in these stores. If you abuse kratom, it does have an addictive trait to it, and the withdrawal symptoms can mimic, not as bad as coming off heroin, but pretty bad. So there are people that definitely abuse it. The products that are sold in gas stations, stores, and all over are very dangerous. I do not recommend them. If you ever want to try kratom, it's something you should be doing at like a kava bar. You know, the organic version of it, not the synthetic version, because a lot of people are dying from it. And it does need to be regulated, and I'm sorry to hear about your friend. So I agree with you on that aspect, but it's not a black and white, and it would hurt a lot of people if it was made illegal, because it has saved a lot of lives also. That's the other side of the argument.
Yeah, well, I just think that people need to be a lot more careful. I don't think that the public is informed enough about this stuff. The feel free and the way that it's marketed and the way that it's just sold at gas stations, it just infuriated me so bad. But, you know, I'm glad that he said something about it, and I hope that we do see that come off of gas station shelves. That should not be allowed. But yes, as far as like the vaccines and stuff, like people are definitely still pissed. And just because like we haven't been screaming about it lately, I think that we're waiting on RFK to do something, and we're looking forward to hearing like that they need to be completely stopped, because after my mom's first booster, she had to go on life support. And I had to go in there and make sure that she was asleep so that I could even sit here and talk about it. Because every time she hears anything about it, she gets furious. And my mother is the most loving and sweet woman in the world. She doesn't get mad.
Except about this.
She hears anything about the COVID shots. When she found out that they were still giving the shots, she got really pissed off. So, yeah, like, I have to wait until she's asleep to even be able to talk about it. But yeah, we're still mad.
Okay, guys, so I have an article. I also want to welcome Falu to the stage. Welcome, brother. How are you doing tonight?
Great, thank you. And you know what? One thing that Hope said, all the places they were putting people, like, don't forget Hope, the old folks home, you know, not just schools and the buses, and they were putting them everywhere. And also where that I was in Michigan, so when that one kid beat up the elderly people at the old folks home and got everybody sick with COVID at the old folks home, that was another one. I mean, very strategic, everything that happened.
100%. 100%. Unfortunately, I think everybody here, you know, can identify with that story. So that's the sad part, but it's true.
Hey, this is John. Can I just say that, you know, getting angry to the environment is going to happen. But it's apps like this where we're actually not being censored, because when they rolled out the vaccine in 2021, 2020, literally former CIA, FBI employees were working at Twitter and literally running back messaging to the White House and deleting and censoring and controlling the narrative. That type of manipulation is extremely dangerous. And this is still the only app where you can still speak out against the COVID-19 vaccines. On Facebook, at Google, you will be labeled a medical misinformationist, and they are using the World Health Organization to essentially formulate all their doctrine on what type of communication can and can't be held. So, you know, Augustus, for many years now, has been organizing rooms to fight back against big pharma and big health insurance, which all relies on Medicare, Medicaid, which is $4 trillion a year that we taxpayers are literally funding our own death and demise through groupthink and stupidity. So I say everyone here, you know, at each other and form our little parallel society so we can fight back against the fraud, waste, abuse, and scam that Medicare, Medicaid perpetuates on us by giving it to big pharma and big health insurance providers. Our money, our dollars, our substance, all borrowed and spent from the Federal Reserve.
100%. So I just want to get into this article, guys. It's only like a couple-minute read, but basically it breaks down the leaked Maha report going hard on vaccines. I'm really excited about it. I hope you are too. Please repost the space and let's get this to a wider audience. A leaked draft of the long-awaited report detailing the Make America Healthy Again Commission strategy for tackling childhood chronic disease has so far drawn mixed reactions from health advocates. The document addresses vaccine safety, medical freedom, and possible health risks linked to wireless radiation, but failed to mention pesticide bans. Although this is a draft document, we are very encouraged by the Maha Commission's recommendations to President Trump, says Mary Holland, the CEO of Children's Health Defense. She added, and I quote, "The strategies in the draft report show a clear shift in government focus toward protecting public health and preventing childhood chronic diseases, instead of relying on the same failed approaches that have only made our children sicker," end quote. Still, she said that the draft left room for improvement, especially when it comes to eliminating pesticides. Every category of pesticide has been linked to neurological disorders in humans posing severe health risks, she said. On Monday, Politico leaked the draft, which, by the way, ladies and gentlemen, you could get the 18-page draft at the top of the space. It's just one over at the top of the space. It says draft of Maha report. It was leaked on Monday, calling the document quite industry friendly. The draft is being circulated among the White House officials and has yet to be finalized. Last week, the New York Times reported it had obtained an earlier draft that suggested good news for the food and agricultural industries. However, at the time, White House spokesman told CNN, any documents purporting to be the second Maha report should be disregarded as speculative literature. The document was leaked close to 100 days after the Maha Commission, led by U.S. Health Secretary RFK Jr., issued its initial report on May 22nd. The earlier report focused on identifying key drivers of the childhood chronic disease epidemic. This month's report contains recommendations for steps the federal government can take to address the epidemic. As the press time today, the final report had yet to be published. Here are a few highlights from the draft: vaccine injuries, medical freedom, and conflicts of interest. The draft spelled out a vaccine framework to guide the government's approach to vaccines that ensures the U.S. has the best childhood vaccine schedule and addresses vaccine injuries. The framework also focuses on correcting conflicts of interest and misaligned incentives and ensuring scientific and medical freedom. The Commission charged the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the federal government's Domestic Policy Council to develop the framework. HHS has been taking actions this year in support of the new framework. In March, RFK Jr. announced a plan to create an agency within the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, aka we all know them as the CDC, focused on vaccine injuries as well as COVID and Lyme disease. In June, the CDC's new group of vaccine advisors committed to studying the cumulative effect of the U.S. childhood vaccine schedule. Excuse me. I don't know. I had like a burp, but it wasn't a burp. I don't know what that was.
That felt painful, dude.
Sorry about that, guys. The CDC currently recommends at least 70 doses of 15 different vaccines for children and adolescents up to the age of 18. These recent actions stand in stark contrast to past federal regimes. Holland, remember, is the CEO of the Children's Health Defense. She says, creating a new vaccine framework is long overdue. Correcting conflicts of interest, improving transparency, and removing initiatives are all welcome changes. The draft also stated that the HHS would launch a vaccine injury research program at the National Institute of Health Clinical Center to improve vaccine injury data collection and analysis. The program may expand to centers across the United States. Holland said she was most encouraged by this addition. The Children's Health Defense Chief Scientist Officer Brian Hooker agreed, and he says, the study of the long-term safety and efficiency of vaccines, vaccine components, and cumulative vaccine schedule has never been done with any type of scientific rigor or veracity. My hope is that HHS will capitalize on this opportunity to prevent vaccine adverse events and acknowledge that the very high prevalence of vaccine injury due to the past fox guarding the hen house via pharma capture of HHS agencies. End quote. Which, by the way, I met him. I met Brian Hooker, the Chief Scientist Officer at CHD. What a great guy. A lawsuit filed last week against the CDC alleges the agency violated federal law by failing to study the cumulative impact of childhood vaccine schedule on children's health. Wireless radiation and health risks. According to the draft report, HHS will partner with other federal agencies and departments to study the effects of electromagnetic radiation on health and highlight areas that need more attention, including new technologies to ensure safety and efficiency. Miriam
Ackensfelds. I don't know, that's a weird last name. Miriam, director of CHD's electromagnetic radiation and wireless program, pointed to a 2008 report by the National Research Council that called for research on the impact of wireless devices and cell towers on kids, fetuses, and pregnant women.
Damn, the space got boomed. Amazing, isn't it? All right, this has been COVID-19 vaccines, Big Pharma, Medicare, Medicaid, debt fraud with candidate Congressman John Kitover. Go to johnforcongress.com. Thanks for tuning in. Let's see what else is on X Spaces at the moment. This is called Trolls, Traitors, and Transparency, the War for the UAP Narrative.
Of the nature of bodies and pilots in these holy vessels that seem to transfigure according to all these myriad conditions that can be either intentionally or unintentionally tweaked.
Well, not only transfigure, but they actually adapt and create according to local properties of physics.
100%.
Well, that to me suggests intelligent design of intent. You're coming to a new environment and you want to be a part of it, but you have to integrate yourself into that environment, and you actually have to change yourself to some degree so that you can interact with that environment.
Some of it is not. There are degrees of it. Some souls who traverse the bardo, the liminal spaces between existence and corporeality, they accidentally end up places, or they are just caught on the wind. And so a lot of that is the case, like the wild huckleberry.
Right.
But either they possess or they go back through the process and emerge once again as the intent fractal, which I've called meme law.
Yeah.
Because it's like, well, if that's the smallest aspect of intention, then it seems mimetic to me.
Yeah.
So I call it meme law.
In a matter of observation and prosperity of intelligence that's merging and moving through the cosmos, if you by happen chance come across an environment that is profitable and possible for your intelligence to continue to experience within that environment, as soon as you come across it, you're going to report back to whatever source intelligence that there is that this is a highly profitable, highly possible environment for experience. So
yes, dude. Okay, so in the Buddhist pantheon, in the Wheel of Life, the human incarnation, like we said earlier, these behaviors that we're finding in this human vessel. This is the most. This place is poised. This particular incarnation is poised for that ascension.
For anybody
and it is preferred. It is the preferred premium incarnation. And that is why.
Yeah, exactly. It's right for it. Exactly. It's right for it. And whether or not that is a homeopathic, homegrown, with understanding and explanation of civilization versus a cosmic or universal appreciation.
Yeah, and in essence would be synagogue of Satan. So they believe, the Roman Catholics state that they believe that there's a seen and unseen baptism, or a seen and unseen salvation. So they believe that they are saved 100% definitively, and that the Protestants may or may not be saved. Yeah, that's their claim. It's kind of like when you get into like the URJ and shit like that. Like Orthodox Jews are gonna be like, the URJ, they're a little fucking weird shit, but they're still Jews.
I think the.
But it's the same kind of shit. The Catholics and the Catholics and Orthodox are just Orthodox.
Basically saying
Protestants can be nice people, but they are wrong.
Which is that there's really not much mention of banning pesticides and stuff like that because of things with the EPA and USDA.
He's got to control. He has to take control of what he can control right now. You know, he can't start stepping on their toes when his house is not in order. So, HHS has the ability to, which they do, change the vaccine schedule, so forth. That's what we need to do first.
I agree. I think a lot of people in the space actually agree with you too, my wife, because we've got a lot of anti-vaxxers up here on stage, and the title of the space is, it goes hard on vaccines, which I think is good because I feel like they've been underrepresented and they feel like as if they haven't been heard and they haven't, they've been kind of like ostracized from the Maha community. And I've been telling them, just be patient. Come August, come September, there's going to be some major changes, and this is just the beginning of the end for them. And it's funny, one of the listeners, this lady Hope, here actually remembered my predictions, and she was like, dude, I've been holding out until it's time, and now what you said has come true. So.
Well, I'm just not sure why this headline is being posed as, it's hard on vaccines but soft on pesticides. Just a few weeks ago, everyone was saying, he's going hard against big food and not against the vaccines. I mean, can anyone ever acknowledge that this is decades and decades worth of corruption, legislation, and foundation that he has to undo? I mean...
Well, babe, the thing is that it's a part of a tactic, a part of a strategy implemented by Big Pharma, by Big Food, by Big Media, in order to dismantle the momentum of this movement.
I want people to realize that, first off, just realize that perfection is the enemy of good, number one. Number two, there is nobody working harder in Trump's cabinet than Robert F. Kennedy Jr. And number three, we have to support. We have to support from the grassroots. We cannot be attacking our guy in there. We can't do that. So, I just want everybody to keep fighting.
When I look like a professional doctor.
Thanks for that, sweetheart. I've been telling them that for a while now. Not everybody wants to listen though. Everybody wants to be a critic. What's that phrase though? The man in the arena.
Read that critic quote. It's so good. Read that quote.
What I manipulate.
Teddy Roosevelt, man in the arena quote.
I always take photos.
What's on my Twitter? What's my last tweet?
With you. To everyone.
So, it is not the critic who
I
counts,
have billions
not
and
the
billions
man who points
when I
out
look like a professional
how
doctor and
the strong man stumbles, or where the doer of deeds could have done them better. The credit belongs to the man who was actually in the arena, whose face is marred by dust, and blood and sweat, who strives violent.
What are we up to? Valiantly. Who errs, who comes short again and again, because there is no effort without error and shortcoming. But who does actually strive to do the deeds, who knows great enthusiasms, the great devotions, who spends himself in a worthy cause, who at the best knows in the end the triumph of high achievement, and who at the worst, if he fails, at least fails while daring greatly, so that his place shall never be with those cold and timid souls who neither know victory or defeat. Teddy Roosevelt. That was beautiful.
Yeah, she's a better reader than me.
She has a cute accent too.
She likes your accent.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah, she's from New York. I'm from Philly. We live in DC. It's kind of trippy. I never thought I'd be here in the swamp, but it's cool. You know, it's so weird. Like the other day, we went to go get ice cream, and guess who? Well, like we walk up to the ice cream shop, and there's like all of these like bodyguards surrounding the shop. So I'm like, oh, it's probably closed. Or my wife says, oh, it's probably closed. And I'm like, well, let me ask. So I asked the bodyguard, like, hey, can we go in there? Are you guys closed? And he's like, oh, yeah, no, you guys can go in there. Come on in. And he opens the door for us. We walk into the ice cream shop. We see like 100 little kids running around in there. We turn the corner, and guess who it is? Pete Hegseth with his like 10 kids. How funny is that? And they were with Secret Service. That's who the bodyguards were with Secret Service. So
Yeah, I saw that somebody is in trouble for doxing them or something.
Oh, they should get in trouble for doxing them. They're a great family.
Who's gonna show up and go fight 10 security, social service?
Secret Service.
Yeah, whatever. Good luck. Doxing. It's like, here's his address. Go get killed. How stupid.
Yeah, but that's like kind of what it's like being in DC. Is like you just randomly run into Pete Hegseth. Go ahead, Prashant, and then we'll go to Carol.
Yeah, thanks, Augustus. Yeah, I wish I could run into Pete Hegseth because I'd have a talk with the man because I think Pete Hegseth is a victim of the lies that have perpetuated the darkness in our country for many years. But I won't go further into detail on that right now because this is not the time. But I certainly wish I could have a man-to-man conversation with this gentleman. I'm 75 years old, so I've been around the block a few more years than he has, and I've seen the lies about our foreign policy. You know, we have a really good conversation here today, and we have somebody in the audience who I'd really like to hear from, and somebody who I think, if Trump really wants to change, should appoint as the head of the USDA, and that's Ed Bourgeois. If Trump's listening or anybody else is listening down below that can get the word to Trump, this is the man that we need to head the USDA. He may not want it, but at least he should be a top advisor because the man knows about healthy food and agriculture. And the last thing I'll say this time is because I don't want to go along too long, and we don't have to get into a fight about what I'm going to say, but we should completely eliminate any vaccine requirement for any child in this country because there is no vaccine that doesn't do harm. Not one. The World Health Organization had a meeting a couple of years ago on vaccine hesitancy. And one of the main speakers, one of the head of that meeting, you know what she said? You can hear her say it. She said to the whole group from all over the world, she said, we are in a very dangerous position. We've put ourselves in a very dangerous position because you know what we've done? We have substituted vaccine immunity for natural immunity. And that's a very dangerous position we've put ourselves in. This is one of the top people in the World Health Organization admitting that relying on vaccines has put us in a very dangerous position. She said it. I can find that video and you can listen to her say it. She's admitting that vaccines aren't the best way to go. Because the best way to go is learn about your immune system and make it strong and stop doing things that weaken it. I'm the living proof of it. I am 75 years old. I haven't been to a doctor in 55 years. I didn't have a doctor.
This guy's been to a doctor in 55 years.
He's scared for his life now and trying to rely on doctors who don't know anything about real health, the vast majority of them. If Trump or his advisors are listening, If Trump wants to get healthy, bring me to the White House. If he does what I said, I'll guarantee Trump can get much healthier than he is. And I'll stop for now, and I apologize for my anger. But my anger is about the children. We're ruining their lives. We're ruining their future. We gotta stop it. Thank you.
Uncle Ben, I believe we feel the same way. You know, we're tired of being taken advantage of and lied to over and over again, having not enough information to make our own decisions. It's disgusting. And I agree with you.
Yeah, thanks for sharing. Go ahead, Carol.
Hey, thanks, Augustus. So most people just call me Apostle Carol, but listening in, one of the things that has come up, and this happened as soon as RFK Jr. and Donald Trump kind of, came up with the term MAHA, is there was a division among those of us that are very concerned about the health status of our country and the things that are creating all of these chronic diseases and putting ourselves and our families at risk. And that is the division between what is more important. And this came to really to the forefront when Casey and Callie Means came on the scene in their book and talking about the toxins in the food. And a lot of people in the health freedom movement said, no, that's not important. What's important are the shots, the vaccines, specifically COVID. And, we got to deal with that first. But then the food thing started coming up, with the food dyes and the Fruit Loops and all that. And then the other side, a division within MAHA. Like we all want the same thing, but this divide came in. And the other side's like the Fruit Loops and the food dyes, that's not important. Get the shots off. And that was kind of ignored. And then, other things have come in. We've got the president's fitness test now, and people are like, that's not important. Deal with the shots. And so there's this division keeps kind of going back and forth. And it's kind of like Mrs. Augustus said that, Kennedy's doing a lot. Like, he is doing a lot. The shots aren't off yet. They haven't stopped that yet. And as motion steps are being taken towards that end, there's pushback from, I think it's more than half a dozen health-related organizations, including the American Academy of Pediatrics, against that. And we have to keep some things in mind. First of all, Department of Defense project. Just like Kennedy cannot, step in and start, regulating things in the EPA or creating, policy in the EPA. He can't do it in the Department of Defense either. So next time you see Hegseth, ask him about that. Why are these shots keep going? With the EUA and these shots. Another thing people have to remember is he is standing up against the FDA, CDC, everything under the HHS. He is up against the most powerful and the wealthiest industry on planet Earth. And to be able to do anything that is going to go up against that industry, he better make sure every T is crossed and every I is dotted. And he's really good at that. He has taken on major corporations and successfully sued and won lawsuits against them, including some of these governmental organizations in his life before he was Secretary of HHS. I agree, we've got to support him, we've got to stand behind him on all of these issues, all of these things he's doing that is for the betterment of our health. We've got to call him out on things like promoting wearables. I'm sorry, if people want to wear wearables, wear your wearables, but I don't want anything telling me, okay, you're going to have to wear a wearable or else. No. If I don't want to wear it, I'm not going to wear it. Or these, a new vaccine that's going to, mimic the human immune system and be like a multi-vaccine. No, develop whatever you want to, but don't come at me with that shot. So, we've got to stand our ground and call him out where we feel like he's crossing the line, but at the same time, we've got to support him on these other issues as well and keep the pressure on about the shots. We do have a voice. We can put the pressure on. There's a lot of ways that we can make phone calls, that we can tag him in posts. Those things, it might feel like it's not making any, it is and it will. So I just want to encourage everybody, I don't want to be patient. Look, I've been waiting on some of this stuff since 2003. You know, food dyes and other vaccines, and to say, there's so many things that I've helped fight against for a very long time. I don't want to be patient anymore. I'm getting old. I want to retire. But I want him to get it right the first time, or somebody's going to come in behind him and undo everything. And that's all I wanted to say. Thank you. Well, at one point, one more quick thing, Augustus. All of those things, let's take vaccines and just scoot to the side for a minute. All of these things that are harming our health, that have been going on for a very long time, primed us. They got us primed and ready for something like this COVID shot or COVID itself to take us out. So all of those things do have to be addressed, or we're going to stay ready and just anything else they throw at us. All right, that's all. Thanks.
Well said, Carol.
Okay, thanks for sharing. Let's go to Brother and then Joe.
Hey, thanks for having me up, Augustus. I just want to kind of respond to Apothecary Carol a little bit regarding, and I totally agree with everything that you say, Apothecary Carol, but one of the things, initially I was a little bit harsh on Brother Kennedy, but now I'm beginning to realize that this is something deeper and a little bit more nefarious, and a little bit more incestuous. So when it comes to health, from the Maha approach, we're concerned, at least I'm concerned about health across the spectrum, both spiritually, intellectually, physically, emotionally. And one of the things that they've done across the board, our educational system has been poisoned, our food supply has been poisoned, our drug system has been poisoned across the board. And the way how you kind of notice a little bit, when you take a look at a guy like Fauci, for all the crimes that he's been committed, he's been able to walk a free man with no consequence for what he did. Now, the nexus between him and my analysis and what I've kind of been able to deduce is, why aren't these people being prosecuted? Well, you know what reveals why they're being prosecuted is the Epstein files. Because when you look at the Epstein files and the child trafficking, which is horrific in nature, what you realize that under the guise of national security, these people have been able to commit atrocities known to man and provide cover under the national security apparatus. Now, if you think in terms of Epstein, Fauci is not only part of the National Institute of Health, but also a CIA double agent, then it makes sense, because the intelligence community will protect him. So to me, we have basically a shadow government going on here that's totally taken over our complete fabric of our society that we're going up against. And this is a new, I wouldn't say this is a new animal, but it's finally revealed itself in many ways. You can't tell me, for the hundreds of billions of dollars that we have spent on our national security apparatus, to this day, we can't even find out where the origination of COVID was. Let me tell you something. They know where it was. It originated as a National Security Defense Department, whatever you want to call it, National Security Agency, bioweapons, for lack of a better term. And this is the problem. And our food supply, when you think of our food supply and our medicines are ultimately bioweapons to make us all sick, then it all makes sense. Because they will go at length to protect the National Security Agency overall. So we're up against something a little bit more horrific in nature, and that's why I'm a little bit more charitable to some of the guys we got up there, like a Tulsi, like a Kennedy, and like a Cash Patel, even though I think Cash could be a little bit stronger. So it's going to be really a monumental effort to really get our country back, because we're seeing now, despite what we send up there, the national security apparatus just takes over, and I landed there.
Hey, Augustus, can I respond just real quick? Brother? Brother, yeah, 100%. That is, and you are an example of the reasons why I'm watching my little piece of the puzzle. You're watching the national security apparatus. We've got people watching different pieces
Okay, this is Congressman John Kitover. We're about to go live on a big Zoom live stream podcast.